Elysium, a paradise once inhabited by humanity, lies at the top of the world tree. The cause of humanity's fall from grace remains shrouded in mystery. The remnants of the population now reside on giant creatures called titans, with the rest of the world surrounded by a sea of clouds. Why was humanity condemned to this fate? How did the world and titans came to be? Is there a path towards redemption? Destiny comes from the most unexpected places, as the teenage salvager Rex has been chosen and heeds the call to adventure. With the aid of the legendary blade Pyra alongside their companions, Rex embarks on a journey to ascend the world tree, reach Elysium, and find the answers that he seeks. Welcome to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. After receiving glowing recommendations to get into this franchise, I finally did it. I finally played and finished my first Monolith Soft game. And those recommendations were not unfounded. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is tried and true one of the best JRPGs on the Switch. It is a massive game, brimming with great content, and you will absolutely get your money's worth. If you miss the good old days when JRPGs were more distinct in visuals and gameplay, along with classic high fantasy sci-fi storytelling, then I easily recommend the game. No, you don't have to play the first entry or any of the other games in the Xeno franchise, but there are Easter eggs here and there if you did play them. So without further ado, let's dive right in on why you should play this game if you have not already. Like I mentioned earlier, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a huge game. The maps are large, filled with powerful beasts to hunt down, quests to complete, and other collectibles and secrets to find. With that said, expect to pour in significant hours to experience the game at its best, from learning and mastering the various gameplay mechanics to exploring the numerous distinct and beautiful locations. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is rich with engaging content that will demand a lot of your time, very possibly even reaching hundreds of hours should you want to experience everything the game has to offer. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is best enjoyed if you take your time. If you're getting into the game thinking you can finish the main story in around 20 to 30 hours, then I would advise to hold off from getting the game for the time being. It is simply not the optimal experience to try and breeze through the main story, as it will very likely lead you to a frustrating and unfulfilling playthrough. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty details of the gameplay. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an action RPG with real-time turn-based-like elements. Rather than you as the player pressing a button to execute an attack, the character you control, along with your two party members, strike enemies automatically. Your job instead is to properly manage your character's positioning, precise execution, and cooldown management of your abilities, and combo coordination with your party members. I will admit that it was tricky to get a mastery of the combat at first, but again, the game is designed to take your time, so you'll be given plenty of opportunities to master the mechanics of the game, and given more time, you can begin optimizing the build of your party. What I also do appreciate in the combat mechanics of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not having a mana pool and item consumption. Why is this a good thing? Because this compels players to win battles through knowledge and skill, and nothing else. Let's be honest, in all the JRPGs that you have played, there are probably a couple of games here and there where you used and abused the most powerful healing items to get through tough boss battles. Not in this game. Managing your party's health requires some effort depending on the composition of your party. The primary healing method in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is through the driver combo, where you will execute a 4-stage combo sequence, namely break, topple, launch, and smash. Each stage needs to be performed within a given time frame, and each stage will cause the enemy to drop healing potions, which you and your party must manually pick up in order to heal the entire party. The deeper into the sequence you perform, the more numerous and potent the healing potions will be. In my experience, the break stage often leaves more to be desired in terms of how much healing I receive. It is usually during the topple sequence and beyond that my party is adequately healed. It is a neat mechanic not just for healing, but also encourages tight coordination between you and your team. And in order to efficiently execute the driver combo, you will need to properly manage both your drivers and blades. From this point on, I will be getting into spoiler territory because I will need to divulge some story details to get my points across. So as per usual, consider this a spoiler warning. Also take note that I will be using footage that are late in the game. Spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One of the core features of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in the context of both gameplay and story is the relationship of drivers and blades. To put it simply, drivers are chosen human beings, such as our protagonist Rex. Blades are mysterious beings summoned from core crystals upon activated by a driver, and one such blade is Pyra. Blades channel power into a driver's weapon through a force called ether. To put it simply, drivers are the master of blades. The plot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 heavily emphasizes on the dynamic and relationship between a driver and a blade, along with bulk of the gameplay mechanics. Each driver can equip 3 blades in battle, and each blade provides the driver a particular element, 3 abilities called driver arts, and 1 powerful attack called blade specials. Each blade also provides passive stat boosts to their drivers called blade arts. While that may all seem like information overload if you're hearing it for the first time, believe me, I got overwhelmed too. You will get the hang of it over time. To easily break it down, the combat encourages players to experiment with the drivers and the blades they are equipped with. Because once you get used to the abilities of each driver and identify your favorite blades, over time, you will develop powerful combinations to easily chain combos and elemental weaknesses to defeat opponents. Again, don't be afraid to continuously experiment with the resources at your disposal. It can be as casual or hardcore as you want it to be. There's no right or wrong method of playing the game. You can go through the entire game equipped with just your favorite drivers and blades, or you can go as far as hyper-optimizing your party to deal consistent driver combos and elemental damage. It is all up to you, and I have to keep hammering that the game is designed for you to take your time and become well acquainted with the game loop. The next thing I want to talk about is character progression. However, I can't explain this properly without first talking about exploration and side quests, as they are heavily linked with each other. There is a vast world to explore in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Not exactly open world big, but still significantly large. That being said, there are plenty of activities to partake outside of combat. Scavenging for herbs, materials, minerals, chests, and many more. There are also numerous quests to complete, and each with their own set of requirements and a skill check mechanic called field skills. Here's the part where character progression, particularly for blades, come into play. Most quests in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 usually have you cross obstacles such as destroying a blockade in your path, flying across a particular point, or even convincing NPCs to do as you ask. And for you to do this, you will need the proper field skills and at a high enough level. I will admit that I was frustrated at first, as the mechanic isn't exactly beginner friendly. But once you get a good grasp of how it works, it should be smooth sailing for the rest of the game. For example, if you swim to another location, you will need a level 2 water mastery. There are 2 ways to achieve this. The typical way is having a blade with level 2 water mastery, but in most cases, especially early in the game, you are locked from getting level 2 or higher field skills until later in the game. So the second method to address this is simply to have 2 blades with level 1 water mastery to meet the requirement. Yes, field skills stacked depending on how many blades possess said field skill that are equipped to your drivers. So even outside of combat, you'll have to do a mix and match of blades and drivers. And if you want to increase the level of the field skill of a particular blade, you will need to meet particular requirements in their skill tree. So finally, we talk about the progression system. To strengthen your blades, the most obvious method is to use them in combat. This will result in blades unlocking new skills in combat while also increasing their trust. Increasing trust unlocks the next tier of the skill tree, giving you the opportunity to increase the level of combat and field skills. And to enhance field skills, this usually entails meeting peculiar requirements, such as interacting with particular NPCs a number of times, or the elimination of particular monsters with also a fixed amount. If this sounds overwhelming or you feel overloaded, don't worry, that is natural, as I did feel that way in my first playthrough. But my promise is this: as you keep playing, and as I keep repeating, if you commit the required time investment, you will understand all the mechanics in time, and it will all feel quite simple. There are other mechanics and features that I have not discussed, but I pretty much nailed down the core gameplay. I will leave you to discover the rest, as I feel that this video is already information overload, and to not make it too long. But to wrap up the gameplay of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the mechanics feel massive, but all come together by the end of your experience. Combat can be both simple and hardcore, depending on how deep you want to customize your drivers and blades. Exploration and non-combat gameplay are plenty and adequately balance the pacing of combat, so neither side of the gameplay feel excessive. With the fundamentals of the gameplay complete, let's talk about the visuals. While the graphics of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are hardly what I call state-of-the-art, it remains gorgeous to this day, despite the limited hardware capabilities of the Switch. The anime art style is charming and colorful, the character models and level design are gorgeous, especially the latter where you will see diverse set of vistas. Given the premise of the game where the world Allrest resides in a sea of clouds, this gave Monolith Soft creative freedom without the confines of gravity holding back their imagination. Many of the locations that you will encounter are composed of floating landmasses in various eye-catching designs and colors. Whether you are exploring a large landmass, underground caves, small towns and settlements, deserts, snowy landscapes, forests oozing with flora and fauna, magical or futuristic environments, there's a wide roster of rich locations throughout the entirety of the game. Special effects and lighting in combat are also eye candy, and never grew old throughout my playthrough. In summary, despite the limited capabilities of the Switch, Monolith Soft succeeded in creating a beautiful game with flying colors. Also as amazing as the graphics is the audio design. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not just a sight to behold, but also music to your ears both figuratively and literally. The soundtrack of the game is soothing during exploration and very much adrenaline racing during intense cutscenes and combat. I even have some of the OST in my playlist. As standard in this channel, don't take my word for it. Just hear them out yourself.
Tora, explain other reason I help you. You see, Tora always wanted to make driver friends.
Ah, interested in drivers, are you?
But of course, Tora think it's amazing how driver and blade join spirits together to make big power. Tora really want to be sidekick of Rex.
You know my name is just Rex, right? One Rex, not two.
What is point?
Well, nothing, I guess. It just sounds a bit different from what I'm used to.
Double name just show Tora's respect. Respect for great driver. Rex should be proud.
I'm not sure I've earned all that yet. Oh, all right. You can call me Rex if it makes you happy. But instead of all this sidekick stuff, can't we just be friends?
Really? Tora will be friend of Rex? Hooray!
What a funny little guy.
So long, kid!
Rex!
What?
Pyra? What is this?
You can't rewrite the act now. It's too late.
Hey, idiot! Look out!
Huh?
Whoa, get lost! Mithra!
Mithra? Pyra? You're...
I am not Pyra.
Huh?
I am Mithra.
Voice acting is also fantastic all throughout the game. Despite the numerous cutscenes in the entirety of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, not once did I feel that the voice acting performance wavered. The cast did a phenomenal job in portraying their characters and maintained consistent voice work. I will play some of my favorite cutscenes to demonstrate.
You! How did you... What? What are you doing in my bed?
Wait!
Get out! Interloper! Monster!
Wait a minute, would you? Ow! You're the one in my room. The guy's room, see?
I can't believe it. I did it again. I am such an idiot.
Is this what they call sleepwalking?
You were staring.
Huh?
Pervert.
Whatever you say, pal. He definitely isn't wearing it because he didn't have the gold for a second contact lens.
How poor are you? And are you that short-sighted?
By the by, what business might you have with us today?
Are you thick? I'm here for the Aegis, obviously.
Listen, Pam. I'm sorry, but we really don't have time to play with you today. So hurry on home, okay?
What's this? Were you so frightened by our power that you wet yourself, furry ears?
Did I what? You've got a lot of nerve, you one-eyed monster.
Nia, you do know one-eyed monster usually means...
Huh? Means what?
It's, Mithra, why are you blushing?
Shut up!
There was never a dull moment with the audio experience in the game, which leads me to the final segment of this video, and that is the story. If you have played many high fantasy sci-fi JRPGs before, I won't say that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 story will knock your socks off, but the presentation is excellent nonetheless. I have played so many JRPGs, and I don't think it's fair for me to expect stories that are entirely new or fresh. Yes, it is better that they do, but I don't expect them by default. Xenoblade Chronicles 2's story centers around the mystery behind humanity's fall from the paradise Elysium, with humanity's final settlements being atop of giant creatures known as Titans, with the rest of the world surrounded by a sea of clouds. And at the center of it all is our protagonist driver Rex and the legendary blade, aka the Aegis, Pyra. As I said a couple of times already, a huge segment of the plot is the relationship between drivers and blades. All the major characters in the game have their own motives, struggles, and triumphs that are very much relatable. It has its intense emotional moments, but also funny and light-hearted side stories such as the ones I shared earlier. Given the length and scope of the game, you will be spending plenty of time getting to know your party. This is even more apparent should you decide to partake in the many side quests of the game. There's even a game feature called Heart to Heart, which are voiced cutscenes where you get to know certain party members and the game world deeper, which are scattered throughout the game. In essence, much like the gameplay, you can dive deeper into the lore of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 if you choose to go the extra mile. And these are my thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. As much as I want to provide more details, this video is long overdue. And there are games that I want to cover that are just around the corner, so let's wrap this up. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a huge game. Not open world big, but sizable enough for you to take your time and enjoy, as rushing it will hurt your experience. The gameplay mechanics can be overwhelming at the beginning, but you will get accustomed to it over time, and it will feel quite simple when you do. Combat can be as simple or hardcore as you want it to be. You can choose your favorite set of drivers and blades, or you can optimize your party build to absolutely dominate the battlefield. The exploration and character progression are plentiful, and you can partake in them as little or as much as you want, with the latter being the ideal approach. The graphics look gorgeous despite the dated hardware of the Switch, whether it is the characters, the animations, the effects, or the level design. The soundtrack, voice acting, and sound effects all sound phenomenal and never grow old. I even have some of the OSTs in my playlist. The story's strength lies in its execution of narrating the game world and its stellar cast of characters. It provides players with relatable cast of characters with strong motives, struggles, and triumphs. I hope to be able to play the other Xeno games in the future. And that about wraps up this video. Thank you for watching, and do consider subscribing if you enjoyed the content. Happy JRPG gaming, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.